What is up, everyone? Andy from WagerTalk.com. We are going to be breaking down every fight for UFC Fight Night. Grasso versus Shevchenko. Want to remind everybody, 5% best bet is up. We are now 7-1 in MMA. We're coming off a really nice 5% winner. On Saturday, we parlayed Carlos Olberg on the money line with Manel Kopp on the money line, and we get the win there. So we're looking forward to bringing in some more profits here. And we did not have a winner on our free contest. We were this close to having a winner. In the comments section, all you have to do, post your favorite fighter with how many strikes that they're going to have. And I use the UFC.com stats. Squash a Goomba guessed Izzy to have 97 strikes. He had 94. You have to be within two without going over. He was within one strike. And I got to say, looking at all the guesses, very close. Everyone did really good. So I think we're on the right track with doing this contest. It's a free contest. We're going to do it every week. In the comment section, pick a fighter, how many strikes they're going to have in their fight. And the winner will get a really nice prize. Let's start breaking down these fights. Don't forget, all of our plays can be found at wagertalk.com. So let's dive into it, and we are going to start with Josefine Knutsson versus Marnic Mann. I am a fan of Josefine Knutsson, and boy, the MMA gods. Holy cow, what a ride they've taken Knutsson on. So Knutsson wins her Contender Series fight in a good fight. I thought she was a shoo-in to get a contract. She doesn't get a contract. But then they slide her in to face Jasmin Lucindo. And Lucindo's probably gonna take care of Knutsson. Lucindo drops out, and now Knutsson gets Marnic Mann, a fighter she should dominate. So a few weeks ago, Knutsson's sitting on that chair, not getting a contract from Dana White. Now she's making her UFC debut, and she's going to be a big favorite, and I think she rolls here. I just don't think Marnic Mann is very good. We saw her on Contender Series. Bruna Brazil knocked her out, and she fights less competition and she wins. Her style can be unbelievably, shockingly boring. She's not a great striker. She'll push fighters up against the fence and just lean on them. And Knutsson's the opposite. Knutsson's a kickboxer, and Knutsson's going to be firing a lot of shots. She's high volume, and her cardio's good. She's firing away shots in the third round, and she may be 6-0 in MMA, but she has an extensive kickboxing resume. She's really good. I'm a big fan. I thought her performance on Contender Series was really good, so I'm happy to see her getting a really good fight here that she should win. So, if we want to take a look at, Marnic Mann, this fight here against Amber Brown, so she loses the first round, and then she wins the next two rounds because of just pushing up and laying against her opponent on the fence and then on the ground, and it's not going to work in the UFC. The refs are going to break them up, or Knutsson's movement is just going to be able to move out of the way. There's just Marnic Mann, the path to victory is to somehow take Knutsson down, hold her down for 3 rounds. I just don't think she can do it. I think Knutsson's going to be able to land a lot of damage. I think she's fast enough to stay away from Mann, and I just think it's going to be a little bit too much for Mann to overcome. So Knutsson's a rightful big favorite, but I don't see a path to victory for the underdog in Marnic Mann. I like Knutsson to get the win. Charlie Campbell and Alex Reyes. I mean, the big story in this fight is Alex Reyes. He was told years ago he would never walk again. Doctors told him he may never hold your kids again. He had a spine infection. It was really serious. It was really bad, and he's made an incredible recovery. But for fighting purposes, this guy hasn't fought in 6 years, and I think just the biggest win for him is just being in the cage and being able to walk through the cage and be able to fight again. And I don't think he's going to win against Charlie Campbell. Charlie Campbell's fight on Contender Series was nothing short of insane against Chris Duncan. Charlie Campbell has Duncan rocked. Duncan, it looks like he's almost ready to be finished. And he just pulls this Hail Mary shot and blasts Campbell. Campbell goes down and he gets knocked out. So it was nice to see Campbell rebound and go fight in CFFC and get the win. I like the power of Campbell here. And listen, 6 years off is just a lot to overcome for Reyes. Reyes is 36 years old. and I think the ring rust is going to be a little bit too much. So I think Campbell has enough power to get the KO here. So I would take Charlie Campbell here. Reyes, an incredible story. So happy for him, and so cool to see him walking and being able to fight. But for betting purposes, it's Charlie Campbell. I don't really see a path to victory for Alex Reyes. Tracy Cortez and Jasmin Jasudavicius, great matchmaking. Great matchmaking. And to me, this fight is almost too close to call. I mean, this is going to come down to who ends up winning the wrestling and ground game, and it's just going to be really, really tight. Cortez coming off a really nice win over Melissa Gatto, where she wins the wrestling battle. Jasudavicius dominating win over Miranda Maverick, where she just looked like a world beater. So the odds are really, really close. I think the value might be in Jasmin Jasudavicius. And the only reason they say that is she's going to be just a little bit taller. She's going to have just a little bit more reach. And I think she might have a little bit better control when the fight goes to the ground if she fights like she did against Miranda Maverick. So I do think this fight goes the distance. That, in my opinion, is the best way to bet on this fight. Just take it to go the distance. I'm not really sure who would finish here because both are pretty tough. I don't see either one of them knocking either one out on the feet. And I think this ends up on the ground, and I think it's a pretty tough wrestling and grappling battle on the ground. So it's an ever so slight lean to Jasmin Jasudavicius, but I can't say that with a whole lot of confidence. But I do like this fight to go the distance, so hopefully we get good odds on that when it comes out. Edgar, Chairez, and Daniel Lacerda. Listen, Daniel Lacerda is not good. He's terrible. Just cut to the chase. I can't believe he's getting another fight. So this guy's 11-5. Okay, not bad. But, I mean, look at this record in UFC. Finished. 0-4. All losses by finish. He doesn't look the part. He doesn't look great. And, you know, we haven't seen a ton from Chairez. So he makes his debut against Tetsuro Taira. That's a brutal welcome to the UFC. He did not get finished. He did not get submitted. So that was good. And he was in one of the fights that will live in MMA history before this. If you didn't see it, it's pretty tough to watch. He submitted a guy, and the ref didn't realize he was unconscious. Chairez gets him an arm bar, and the guy's unconscious, and Chairez is basically ripping the guy's arm apart because the ref won't stop it. Very, very serious injury that occurred there. But before that, I really liked Chairez's striking. It looks solid. Great. Not great, but it looks solid. It's UFC caliber. His movement on the feet is pretty good. He holds his hand a bit too low for my liking, but Lacerda has not shown the ability to take advantage of that. Lacerda is a complete fade. I'll take Chairez to win this fight. And I think you can take him inside the distance. I mean, why not go 5 for 5 on Lacerda losing these fights and being finished in them? So I'll take Chairez inside the distance. Roman Kopylov and Josh Fremd. I'm a big Kopylov fan. I love the improvements that he's made in his last few fights. I'm not a big fan of Fremd, and to be honest, I think you're getting a really, really good price on Kopylov if you need a parlay piece. I do think this is one. Fremd has won 2 fights in a row against Jamie Pickett and Cedric Dumas. Before that, he lost to Tresean Gore and Anthony Hernandez. I do not think he even remotely has the stand-up game to compete with Kopylov. And Kopylov has knocked out his last 3 opponents. And there's a thing with Fremd where people are like, well, you know, Fremd, you know, he shoots and he'll take it to the ground. Jamie Pickett got credited with 2 takedowns on Fremd. Fremd had 0. Fremd has been taken down way more in the UFC than he has taken down. He tried to get Jamie Pickett down, and he couldn't. And Kopylov is just going to be way better on the feet. So if Fremd is not able to get it to the ground, which is not shown that he can do, it's Kopylov all day. All Kopylov has to do is stuff a takedown and keep it on the feet, and he will do damage to Fremd on the feet. I'm not very high on Fremd, but I am high on Kopylov. So I think Kopylov wins by finish or just a very dominating win by decision. But, yeah, it's a fade Josh Fremd coming off of 2 wins against not really good competition here. So once again, just want to remind everybody, 5% best bet, that is up at wagertalk.com. Streak is now 7-1 in MMA, and we are just having a fantastic year. in all sports. We're up over 105 units. We've hit over 63% of our bets since August 1st. We're really crushing it. So I hope everyone joins us. 5% plays. We don't use them a whole lot, but we've used quite a few over the last week, and they've all hit. So 3-0 run this week in 5% best bet. So go ahead and grab that play and join us. That is over at wagertalk.com. Lupita, Godinez, and Elise Reed. So I don't know why Lupita refuses to wrestle, but she's just telling us, I'm not going to wrestle anymore. Her family, just decorated wrestlers. She's been wrestling since she was a child. And yet, she's just decided, I'm going to be a striker. I don't understand it. I think she could win these fights easily if she would just wrestle. And it cost her a win against Angela Hill. She refused to wrestle in that one. She could have wrestled, and, she didn't. So she's fighting Elise Reed. Elise Reed is not good at takedowns. Elise Reed is not good on the ground. So Lupita has a massive advantage. But I'm guessing she's going to do it again. She's going to come out and she's going to try and stand and strike. And, Reed won her last fight against Jinh Yu Frey. Frey was able to get a couple takedowns and hold Reed down. So my guess is Lupita just keeps us on the feet. And I will say Lupita does have the advantage in cardio. So if this makes it to a third round, I would say Lupita is going to win the third round. Elise Reed kind of tires. Elise Reed's striking is okay, and that's why I worry about laying big juice on Godinez here, because if Godinez gets into a striking match, that's where Reed is going to be at her best. So it's tough to put Godinez in a parlay. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to be terrified when we're 2 rounds into the fight and Godinez has not tried to wrestle or take Elise Reed down once. And both fighters are breathing heavy, and Elise Reed's landed some good shots, and Godinez has landed some good shots, and we're worried about a classic 1-1 going into the third round. So Godinez is a big favorite here, and I just can't get there. I just can't get there because I just don't trust her strategy coming into these fights. So slightly into Godinez, but I'm certainly not betting on it. Fernando Padilla versus Kyle Nelson. We saw Fernando Padilla have a great debut. He knocked out Julian Erosa, and I was stunned at how much better he looked against Erosa than in the film that I watched. He looked bigger. He looked stronger. His strikes were really good. This is a tall guy. He's rangy. I just wish the fight would have lasted longer against Erosa. I wanted to see more of him. I wanted to see him pushed a little bit. I wanted to see what his cardio looked like, but the fight was over so quick that we didn't get a chance to see it. And so he's facing Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson's coming off a win against Blake Bilder. Bilder handed him the win. Here you go. Here's the win, because I'm going to fight with 0 fight IQ. And Nelson is 2-4 in the UFC. He doesn't do one thing particularly well. He doesn't throw a ton of volume. He tires out kind of easy as the fight goes on. He'll shoot on fighters, he'll push them to the fence, and then he won't do much. So it's an interesting fight because he is a veteran and Padilla is young, and I just haven't seen enough of Padilla against a UFC veteran. Kyle Nelson's not a great UFC fighter, but he is still a UFC fighter. So, you look here at Padilla's record, and he did lose despite Carla, but that was back in 2019. Like I said, this guy looked a lot better against Julian Erosa than he had in previous fights. So I honestly don't know what to do with this one. I really don't have an opinion, and so I'm just going to be boring and say it's a complete pass. I don't know what to expect here. I don't know if Padilla's going to tire out later in the fight, because I know Kyle Nelson's going to be a little bit tired, but is it going to be more tired? Is Padilla striking for real, or does the veteran and experience of Kyle Nelson kind of take over? So Padilla's like minus 250. No shot am I laying on that. I want to see a little bit more from Padilla before I pull the trigger on a fight. So up next, Daniel Zellhuber and Christos Giagos. I'm a Daniel Zellhuber fan. We cashed on him in his last fight against Veneta. I like him to win again here. This guy's 24 years old, and what I like is he's just kind of got all the tools. He lost against Trey Ogden. It wasn't a terrible loss. And then against Veneta, I cannot believe the ref did not stop the fight in the first round. I mean, he knocked he knocked Veneta down and just ground and pound, punches, punches, punches. But he didn't get overzealous. He was very, very patient, and he cruised to an easy decision win. I love his long legs. He knows how to use them. His front kicks are really good. He knows how to kick, and he's really good in the clinch. He's got a knee to the body that is wicked. He's got he's got those long legs, so where I mean he can bring them up with a lot of force into the body. And he's only 24, and I like that he's just kind of getting better with each and every fight. So I think we're going to see him even improve coming out of his last fight where he looked really good. And he's fighting Christos Giagos. I don't know what to make really of Giagos. I mean, he wins against he wins against Ricky Glenn, but that fight was over before it started. Minute and 30 in, and you go before that. Okay, he lost to Thiago Moises and Arman Sarukian early in round one. So we're just, we're not seeing a whole lot of his fights. So he gets the win against Sean Soriano, and then he gets the win against Carlton Minus. That one went the distance. So we could see something. I'm just a Zellhuber fan, and I lean towards him in these fights. I think his length is going to be too much for Giagos to overcome, and I think if it gets in close, Zellhuber is going to land some of those knees, push Giagos back, and Zellhuber is going to use his length to really piece him up. And I am kind of banking on seeing improvement. We see with these young fighters, like they're growing more into their man body, and they're getting stronger, and they're getting more time in the gym with their coaches. So Zellhuber is a pretty good favorite. Probably gonna have to put him in a parlay. I wouldn't be mad at it. Minus 250 ish right now. So I like Zellhuber. We cashed on him in last fight. I think we can do it again. So. Give me Zellhuber. I don't know if he finishes. My guess is it probably goes the distance because Giagos is pretty tough, but I think Zellhuber pulls it out. Hell Rosas and Terrence Mitchell. Rosas learned a real valuable lesson. He's so young, 18 years old as of today when I'm recording this, and we see in his last fight that he just got tired and he got way overzealous. He tried to get the finish early against Christian Rodriguez. Rodriguez weathers a storm, wins rounds 2 and 3, and he just made a mistake. And I have no doubt that him and his team are working on it big time. And this is something that all fighters do. When they're young and they just get over anxious and they don't know how to manage their excitement and their cardio. Talk about a great spot to get right. He's facing Terrence Mitchell. This guy comes from the Alaskan fight scene. Those are shady fights. There's been allegations of record fixing and all that. And we saw Mitchell fight Cameron Simon. I thought Mitchell would give Simon a pretty good run. He did not. He got tired in the first round. Simon ends up getting the ground and pound. Mitchell's just not very good. Hostess is going to, as soon as Hostess gets him down on the ground, Hostess is going to hold him there. He's going to lock in that really tight body triangle. He's going to manage his cardio better. And Terrence Mitchell doesn't have any cardio. So I think this is Hostess all day. Wouldn't surprise me if he finished here. So they set Hostess up really, really nice. No doubt about that. All right, Kevin Holland and Jack Della Maddalena. I think this is the most interesting fight on the card. I think it's really amazing. So you have Maddalena, obviously elite boxer, and his last fight, was that pretty close? He got a scare, short notice replacement. He faced Hafez, who was able to take him down, and it was a split decision. I thought it was just razor close, and Maddalena's been beating guys that haven't been able to take him down. And now he gets Kevin Holland, who's coming off a great win against Michael Chiesa in July, quickly submitted him. Holland's a tough nut to crack because sometimes he's just so goofy and doesn't take the fight serious, but he has been taking the fights really, really serious. And so you look at his last two, he wins against Ponzinibbio, and he wins against Chiesa. The Stephen Thompson one is the one that I referred to where he wasn't really taking it serious, but he seems to be kind of locked in. And when he's locked in, he is so good. So if this fight stays on the feet, like if Holland is like, I want to try and outbox Maddalena, then you're like, oh no. And if he does, Maddalena's going to win. Maddalena's probably going to beat him up on the feet. But if Holland decides to wrestle and take him down, I think he can submit Maddalena and make Madalena look pretty bad on the ground. So the other thing about Holland is he just doesn't absorb big shots. I mean, look at this. Okay, so win-win. So he retired to Stephen Thompson, but he openly was like, "I want to try and like, I want to try and karate match Stephen Thompson." So crazy. Um, he lost to Chimaev. That was a submission. He loses to Vittoria and Brunson. Those are decisions. He doesn't get knocked out. He loses to Brendan Allen, but again, that's a submission. Loses to Thiago Santos. That's a decision. He doesn't get hit super hard. He knows how to stay out of the way. He's got good length, and I think you're getting a good price on Holland. I think Holland wins this because if I'm looking at where's the biggest mismatch, I think it's Holland taking Madalena down and working the submissions. I don't think Madalena can hold up to Holland on that one. So Holland's going to have the big reach. He's going to be taller, and I don't think Madalena's ground game is very good. So I'm going to take Holland. I think you're getting an exceptionally fair price. So give me Holland to beat Jack Della Madalena in this one. And the final one, Alexa Grasso, Valentina Shevchenko. The rematch. Grasso comes in as the underdog. Shevchenko comes in as a favorite. I'm taking the underdog. I think Grasso wins. So we go back and we look at the first fight that that Grasso had against Shevchenko. Grasso wins the first round on the feet. Shevchenko wins rounds 2 and 3 with the takedown. She gets Grasso on the ground, wins a round. Shevchenko is absorbed some punishment. She's got some cuts on her face, and she does this spinning attack that doesn't work in the fourth round. Grasso just grabs her back, bang around the neck. Next thing you know, they're on the ground, and Shevchenko's tapping. So here's where I'm going with this and why I think that Shevchenko is in trouble. We just saw it with Israel Adesanya when he looked terrible against Sean Strickland. This guy's been champ forever. He just had the insane match and rivalry against Alex Pereira. And I just think he just looked like he needed a break, or that he was done, or that he had just given all he could give up to that point. The guy had headlined a bazillion, fights, or a bazillion fight cards and pay-per-views. Look at Kamaru Usman. He's on top of the world. He's beating Leon Edwards. Bang, head kick, done. And then he looks terrible in the rematch. And it was like these champs, I think they just hit a wall, especially after a loss, where they're like, I've been champ for so long, I just can't quite have the mental fortitude and the physical toll that I've been through. It's just too much to come back. And they're fighting these other fighters that are, coming up and that are more hungry than them. And so let's look at Shevchenko, because I think this is what we're getting from her. She's 35, and she has been fighting the best of the best. I mean, look at the Tyler Santos split decision. Lauren Murphy, 4 rounds. Andrade, round 2. But Jennifer Maia, decision. Kaylin Chikagan, 3. Liz Carmouche, decision. That's a lot of wear and tear. That's a lot of stress. That's a lot of energy. It's a lot, and I didn't think she looked very good against Tyler Santos, and I didn't think she looked that good against Alexa Grasso. I know that submission was kind of out of nowhere. I think this might be the beginning of the end of her incredible, legendary career. She's 35. I mean, how much more can she give at this level? And Grasso just she put a chink in the armor. She knocked Valentina down off that throne, and so Valentina is going to have to come back and come up with something special. And here's the other thing. Grasso has probably just been working on takedown defense all days. Just every day, takedown defense, because that was really where Shevchenko had the advantage. So if Grasso is able to stuff those takedowns, I think she can go toe-to-toe with Valentina on the feet, and I think she can wear Valentina down. I thought Grasso looked really, really good on the feet, and I'm banking on that Shevchenko, this just might be it. Fought on top of the world for so long, and now it's just going to be a little bit too much to try and regain the title. So we see these fighters, they get to a certain point, and it's just like, I don't have it anymore. I don't have it. I don't know what the it is, but I just don't have it I'm ready to move on to the next part of my career. So you have Grasso, who's 5 years younger and who's ready. Who's ready to hold the title for a couple fights, I think. So I'm going to take the underdog here. I don't be surprised if I'm not going to be surprised if Shevchenko comes out and just looks like, she doesn't have it anymore. And we see it with athletes all the time. Falls off a cliff really, really quick. So I saw Valentina slow down the last couple fights, and I think we may be getting close to her not being able to compete for the title anymore. So give me Grasso in this one. All right, quick little recap here. I like Josefine Knutsson over Marnic Mann. I like Charlie Campbell over Alex Reyes by knockout. Ever so slight lean to Jasmin Jasudavicius, but I do like that fight to go over. Edgar Chairez by finish over Daniel Lacerda, who's terrible. Roman Kopylov, I think he dominates. Josh Fremd, maybe inside the distance, but he should get the win. Lupita and Elise Reed, I have no idea. If you can guess what Lupi's strategy is going to be, then you're a lot smarter than I am. So, Fernando, Padilla, Knutsson, a complete pass. I just haven't seen enough from Padilla to know he's going to compete against a veteran like Knutsson. I like Zellhuber over Christos Giagos. I like Rosas to roll over Terrence Mitchell. I like Holland. I think Holland makes it look, I don't want to say easy, but I think Holland wins in easy fashion and easy fashion on the ground, as I should say, against Madalena. And then I like Grasso, the underdog. So a lot of favorites on this card for obvious reasons here. They have a lot of Mexican fighters. But I think the Mexican fighters have a really, really good day at the office here on this card. So that's going to do it for us, guys. Don't forget to get the 5% best bet. That is up right now at wagertalk.com. And leave us a comment if you want to join in on a free contest. All you do, pick a fighter, tell me how many strikes they're going to have. I use the strikes from UFC.com. So good luck on all your bets, everyone. And don't forget to check out all the other videos. If you like this gambling content, please make sure you hit the like button and watch all of our other stuff. I will have a Dana White Contender Series video that is out. And, of course, Wager Talk today, Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern Time at 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll see everyone later.